So, how did it start? Right. I'm a retired GP. I've done complementary medicine for probably 30 years. And I was interested in hypnosis and acupuncture, NLP, these sorts of things. And one of my colleagues asked if we would want to go to a course in Glasgow on this other therapy, a tapping therapy. And at first I was a wee bit reluctant because he said it's based on acupuncture, you know acupuncture. And I said, I tend to use acupuncture for musculoskeletal problems, joints, ligaments, tendons, that sort of stuff. And he was talking about treating psychological and psychiatric problems with using acupuncture points. But eventually he persuaded me, so I went. The course lasted a couple of days, videos, demonstrations, practicing on each other, people getting interviewed, all this sort of stuff. And I found it fascinating. Told my partners about it, next business meeting in the practice, and was accorded the usual interest like eyes skyward and so on and so forth. But my health visitor came up to me after the meeting and she said, is this any good for flashbacks and nightmares? And I said, yeah, it's really good for flashbacks and nightmares. It seems to work very well for trauma. And she was going to tell me about a patient of ours who'd had a really traumatic life. And she liked gory details. And I wasn't interested in gory details. I said, just stop there, ask her to come and see me. And this girl called Christine came to see me. And Christine was a nurse from Angola, and spoke to her a wee while, said that I understood she had flashbacks and nightmares. I'd learned a new technique and be happy to try it on her if she came to my Thursday afternoon clinic. And I was usually booked a couple of weeks ahead, so 3 weeks later I saw Christine for the first time as a patient to treat her. And she had an hour's appointment, and I was telling her what I knew about this technique, which wasn't a lot. But I asked her to think of something that was really painful for her. Think of the worst thing that's ever happened to you, Christine, and she started crying. So I started tapping. Showed her where to tap, and after 5 minutes, she stopped crying, and I said, so what's happened? And she said, it was a long time ago. And I said, well, it's not a long time ago plus 5 minutes, Christine. How do you feel? Think about that. She said, it was a long time ago. I said, well, you're crying 5 minutes ago. It's a long time ago, was her response. So think of the next worst thing that's happened, Christine. So she starts crying again. You start tapping again and talked her through it. And this went on for about 25 minutes. And I said something, oh, you're smart, like, I'm running out of tissues, Christine. She'd been doing a lot of crying. And I was trying to lighten the mood a bit because she hadn't been really upset. I'm running out of tissues, Christine. I think we've done enough. And she said, what's happened? I said, I don't know what's happened, but I do know one thing. I'm an observer, and my observation is you've changed colour. She said, what do you mean? I said, well, I've seen white people go grey and green and really pale and red, but I've never seen a coloured person get pinker, and you look healthier. Go and look in the mirror. So she looked in the mirror and said, oh, I look healthier, all right. I said, it's weird, isn't it? I've never seen a coloured person go pink up. So we were having a laugh, and I wanted to read her notes because I hadn't read her notes. I'd purposely not looked at her notes because I didn't want to have any preconceptions about what I was treating. All I knew was that she was having flashbacks and nightmares. And I wanted her out the door. And what doctors usually say when you want somebody out the door is, there anything else I can do for you? And she said, can you help pain? I said, oh, I can help pain. Aye, where's the pain? And she lifted up her blouse, and she'd been in a fire. She was burned, scarred all the way down there. And I looked and I said, oh, that happened when you were a kid. What age were you when that happened? And she said, it was 8. I said, 8? And it's still painful. She said, it's sore all the time. I said, well, if it's sore all the time and you've had it 20 years, you must accept that there must be a psychological component to it. In other words, some of the pain must be up here as well as down here. You've had skin grafts and other work done on it. And she accepted that. I said, well, right, we only need to tap 4 places for pain, Christine, right? Just watch this. So think of the pain, get the pain as sore as you can, start tapping. And the pain went away, and she gave me a lovely smile. Wow, that's amazing. And I said, well, the pain will be back. My understanding is I can't get rid of pain that quickly, and neither can you. But I'll write down what you have to do, and if you follow instructions every time the pain comes back, and it's appropriate to tap, just you tap for it. And I'll see you in a fortnight. And that was basically that. So I read Christine's notes when she went out, because that was principally why I'd wanted her out the door. And she had good notes because she'd been attending the psychiatrist for her flashbacks and nightmares, and she'd been attending the chronic pain clinic for chronic pain. And she was getting Prozac for her flashbacks and nightmares, and amitriptyline standard treatment for chronic pain. And what happened to Christine was, when she was a wee girl of 8, there was a war in Angola. Rebels had invaded the village and killed, raped, murdered lots of people. And she's seen all these horrible things happening. She's hiding under a wee truckle bed in a hut, and they set fire to all the huts. And she ran through the wall of a burning hut, and her wee dress melted onto her skin. And she was picked up by nomadic herdsmen who took her to a convent hospital. There was an orphanage, a convent, a school, and a hospital. And she was looked after by the nuns, grew up to be a nurse, and had come to Queen Margaret College in Edinburgh for an advanced nursing degree. I was staying with 3 other students close to my surgery, and my surgery was less than a mile from Queen Margaret College, and that's how she'd happened to my patch. And she came back 2 weeks later, had stopped taking her tablets, and said, first words to me, "You were sent by God." And I said, "Oh really?" Give him my best regards. Tell him I'm asking for him, tell him to get the government sorted out down here. And I had a wee little bit of a laugh of it, but her pain had gone. And I was flabbergasted, I was gobsmacked. And I've done a lot of research and reading about tapping techniques since then. And I've been practicing it in the Moira Anderson Foundation for about 13 years now, treating people who've been abused.